Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your source for the latest royal news and updates. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed. No one expected Piers Morgan to do what he supposedly did on live television. Not his viewers, not his critics, and definitely not the team behind Meghan Markle's carefully controlled image. But according to sources, in the middle of his broadcast, Piers didn't just rant about Meghan the way he usually does. This time, he came armed with what observers described as receipts. Photos that were supposedly wiped from the internet years ago. Photos that certain people supposedly worked very hard to hide forever. These images weren't from her royal days. They weren't from Hollywood red carpets either. They were supposedly from her Soho House days, private parties, exclusive gatherings, and late-night events that Meghan herself has never wanted to talk about publicly. And when those supposed images flashed across the screen, people who saw them said one thing immediately. This is not the Meghan we were told about. For years, the public has been fed a story, a sweet, simple fairy tale. Meghan Markle, the hardworking actress who somehow stumbled into royal life like destiny chose her. But these supposed photos show a completely different version. A Meghan who wasn't stumbling anywhere. A Meghan who was already standing exactly where powerful men could see her. And the biggest question of all hit like a shockwave. If these photos are real, why were they buried for so long? To understand why the photos mattered, you have to understand the contrast. The Meghan Markle most people know is the one from glossy interviews and soft-focused documentaries. She's the girl who said she grew up on a budget, worked her way into acting, and lived modestly, even when suits started paying her real money. She's the woman who wanted to help others, run a lifestyle blog, and focus on humanitarian work. It's a lovely story, easy to believe, easy to admire. But the supposed images tell a quieter, sharper story, one that has always lived in the background, but never quite reached the surface. Sources who claim they saw the photos describe Meghan at private Soho House events surrounded by wealthy men. Not in a casual way, not in a just passing by way, but positioned comfortably, naturally, inside elite circles most people will never enter in their entire lives. This isn't how regular actresses spend their evenings. This isn't how someone with Meghan's income level gains access to members-only spaces where even household name celebrities are turned away. Somewhere along the way, Meghan was in rooms where billionaires and power players gathered. Rooms that matched the lifestyle she lived, but not the lifestyle she explained. And that is where the contradiction begins. Because if the Meghan in the supposed photos was moving through these exclusive spaces long before Harry, and if her public story erased all of it, then the question becomes less about what she did and more about why she wanted everyone to forget it. Channel reminder: don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more royal updates. To understand the heart of the mystery, you have to understand what Soho House actually is. It is not a restaurant, not a hotel, not a simple social club. Soho House is a gate, and only a certain kind of person gets through it. These are members-only properties scattered across the world, each one guarded by a quiet set of rules that keep out anyone who might draw unwanted attention. The founder famously said they avoid giving membership to people who create drama, attract paparazzi, or stir media storms. Yet somehow, Meghan, then a cable actress with a small fan base, had access to multiple Soho House locations in London, Toronto, New York, and beyond, not just as a visitor. According to Harry's own memoir, she called it her headquarters. She kept luggage there. She knew the staff. She moved through the buildings like someone who belonged. Even global icons like Kim Kardashian and Kobe Bryant were turned away from membership. And yet, Meghan walked in with ease. And with that detail alone, the story cracks open. Soho House is not a place where you simply drop in. Someone has to vouch for you. Someone has to open the door. Someone has to say she gets access. And that single question, who opened the door for Meghan Markle, is what links the supposed photos, the power circles, and the hidden past into one story. Because anyone who enters Soho House without fame or wealth doesn't get in by chance. They get in because someone powerful wanted them there. Now we reach the part of the story where everything begins to make sense. The figure who connects all the dots. His name appears again and again in whispers and in photographs, always standing beside Meghan Markle like a shadow that never fades. Marcus Anderson. To understand Meghan's sudden rise into elite social circles, you must understand Marcus, because he wasn't just a friend. He wasn't just someone she met at a party. He was the global membership director of Soho House. The man who literally decided who entered those hidden rooms and who stayed locked outside forever. And somehow, Meghan was always on the inside. Sources familiar with the network describe Marcus as the person who quietly manages access for the world's most powerful names. He opens doors for the chosen few. He arranges introductions. He decides which rising stars get exposure to billionaires and industry giants. It's a role that requires trust, not from the public, but from the people who run the world behind the scenes. And Meghan didn't just know Marcus. He supposedly followed her from Los Angeles to Toronto, to New York, to London, to California. Again, city after city, Marcus appeared, not in a casual, just visiting way, but in a way that looked intentional, connected, and strategic. Observers say friendships don't usually work like that. Executives with major responsibilities don't uproot their lives just to stay close to an actress on a cable show, unless the relationship wasn't ordinary, unless his role in her life wasn't simple friendship. And when you add the long-standing claim that Marcus introduced Meghan to Prince Harry, suddenly the pieces begin lining up. Because Meghan's rise wasn't fast. It wasn't chaotic. It was steady, placed, guided. The kind of rise that doesn't happen alone. But there's another layer to this story. One that stretches beyond Soho House and into an even quieter world. The world of private yachts, luxury gatherings, and wealthy men who prefer their social events away from cameras. A man named Christopher Jones comes into the picture here. According to sources, he claimed he worked the yacht circuit during the same period Meghan supposedly did. Their time in that environment, he said, overlapped. Now, to be clear, not every yacht story is scandalous. Some actresses accept invitations to network. Some go to make industry contacts. Some go because it's simply a chance to be seen in exclusive settings. But the reason these claims matter is because of the pattern. We have Meghan appearing in elite social circles before she was famous. Meghan having access to spaces far above her income. Meghan supposedly photographed around wealthy older men. Meghan connected to a Soho House director who knew everyone in that world. Add the yacht circuit to that pattern, and suddenly, her social positioning before Harry looks less like luck and more like a calculated climb. Authors who study the celebrity yacht relationship have described a system where rising actresses date upward, building connections that can change their careers. And Meghan's name has appeared in that context more than once. Some of the yacht photos floating online were proven to be misidentified women. That is true, but the rumors never faded because the network itself is real. And Meghan's documented connections to that world kept fueling questions. And when questions keep returning again and again, they usually return for a reason. Now, we reach one of the most telling parts of this entire story. Meghan Markle is known for being extremely protective of her image. She has sued newspapers. She has filed complaints against TV hosts. She has demanded corrections, clarifications, and complete removals of stories she didn't like. She does not let things slide. And yet, according to sources, when Piers Morgan supposedly displayed those Soho House photos on television, something strange happened. Silence. No denial, no statement, no lawyer's letter, no threat of legal action. Nothing. For someone as litigious and image-conscious as Meghan, the silence was louder than any statement she could have made. Because usually, when a public figure calls something false, they say so quickly and forcefully. They shut it down before it spreads. They challenge it legally, if needed. But when someone says nothing, it raises a different question altogether. Is the silence a strategy, or is it an admission that fighting back would only draw more eyes to something she never wanted exposed in the first place? In this moment, this quiet, unexplained silence is where the story stops being about rumor and starts becoming something else. Something more serious. Something more revealing. Because for the first time, the past she supposedly tried to erase had stepped out from the shadows. And this time, it wasn't so easy to hide. Before any royal drama, before Oprah, before documentaries and podcasts, Meghan Markle met Piers Morgan for a simple drink in 2016. A friendly chat. Nothing more. They talked for over an hour. Piers believed they were forming a genuine connection, a professional friendship, maybe even a mentor-type bond. But what happened next is what Piers has never forgiven. The very next evening, Meghan didn't just go out again. She went straight to Soho House, had dinner with Prince Harry, and then vanished from Piers' world forever. No message, no explanation, no thank you, just complete silence. For most people, being ghosted is annoying. For Piers Morgan, it became personal because after that night, things escalated quickly. Meghan became global news. Her relationship with Harry went public. The palace confirmed their romance, and Piers realized he had been cut off the minute she met someone more important. Then came the Oprah interview. Then came Piers' public criticism. Then came the backlash so intense that he walked off his own show live on television and lost his job. It didn't stop there. Meghan herself reported him to ITV, which became part of the reason he never returned. So when people heard Piers supposedly aired those photos, they didn't see a random attack. They saw a man who has been waiting years for a moment like this. A man who felt betrayed, humiliated, and pushed out, finally holding what he believed was proof that Meghan wasn't the person she claimed to be. This wasn't a segment. This was a score being settled. Once you place every piece on the table, the photos, the access, the networks, the introductions, the silence, a different picture begins to form. One that doesn't look accidental. One that doesn't look like fate or luck or fairy tales. Sources who have followed Meghan's rise closely describe a pattern of careful studying and strategic positioning. Meghan grew up acting, studying characters, watching people, and some claim she used that same observational skill to shape the exact persona she needed at every stage of her life. When she entered elite circles, she adapted quickly. When she entered royal circles, she adapted again. Some observers even claimed she modeled parts of her behavior after Princess Diana, her gestures, her emotional expressions, even the way she connected with Harry. Whether that is true or not, the pattern remains the same. Every environment she entered, she learned how to fit perfectly inside it. And that is why the supposed Soho House photos cause such a stir, because they hint that her story didn't start with Harry. It didn't start with the palace. Her climb may have begun years earlier, inside a world she has never publicly acknowledged, a world she may have tried to leave behind. Every fairy tale has two sides. There is the polished version, the one written for the world to admire, full of light, hope, and destiny. And then there is the version that lives behind the curtain, the one shaped by choices, relationships, opportunities, and secrets that were never meant to be shared. The story of Meghan Markle has always been told as the first version, the brave actress who found love with a prince, the outsider who stepped into royalty, the woman who changed the system and reshaped the narrative. But when those supposed photos surfaced, even for a moment, the second version flickered into view. A version built long before Harry, a version crafted inside private rooms, exclusive networks, and quiet introductions. A version supported by people the public has never seen, in places she has never explained. And if those pieces of her past are real, then the fairy tale begins to wobble. Not because of scandal, not because of rumor, but because it becomes clear that the life Meghan presented to the world may not match the life she actually lived. The question now isn't whether the photos matter, it's what they represent. Because if this part of her story was hidden, if these circles were part of her world long before royalty, if her climb was helped by a network she never mentioned, then what else remains behind the curtain? What else was meant to be discovered? The fairy tale isn't over, not by a long shot, but the stage lights are shifting, and the truth, whatever form it takes, is stepping forward piece by piece, photograph by photograph, moment by moment. And once the truth begins to rise, it never goes back into the dark. That's all for today's Royal Daily Report. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more exclusive royal news and stories. Stay informed, stay connected.